Coding or no code? The education system needs a wake-up call. And here's why schools need to evolve with tech.
So we were thinking how we could explain the importance of no-code tools in education in this video. And that's when it struck us. The story of one of my friends, a computer science graduate. So the story starts with a coding language by the name of LaTeX. By definition, LaTeX is a document preparation system for high-quality typesetting. In a nutshell, it's a coding language used to create documentation. And this very task was given to my friend in his second year of engineering, to create documentation using LaTeX. He was a bit confused as to why he had to code the entire thing. So he went up to the professor and he asked if he could simply use Google Docs or Microsoft Word because the end output was going to be exactly what the professor wanted, a document. But sadly, he had to code the entire thing. Now, imagine this. If I tell you that coding is the only way to create a document, to create something like this, you need to code something like this. Would you ever create a document? No, right? You'd run away from it. At least majority of the people would. Some might even say, I would never be able to create a document if this is what it's going to take. And then suddenly I give you a tool like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. You go crazy. Wait, I can simply center align my paragraph with one click? I don't need to code for this? That's awesome. Sounds familiar to you, right? Yes, something similar has been engraved into our minds while growing up. If you want to create an app or a website, you have to code like this. And the majority of people have run away because they see coding and get scared. But now, what if I show them a no-code tool and tell them you don't need to code to create a website? You can simply drag and drop components, or you don't need to code the entire thing from scratch. We have templates. Just pick one, make changes, and you're done. That person will be more interested in creating apps and websites than someone who traditionally thinks that coding is the only way to do it. So, in this video, we're going to talk about why no-code tools should be an important part of secondary education. With real-life examples, real startup failures, the concept of STEM education, and citizen developers. Answering all your hows and whys. Welcome to Builder Central.
So this article tells a different story altogether. A survey conducted in 6 states by the Central Square Foundation has found that more than 40% of Indian students have never used technology for learning. The study also says that YouTube was the most popular tool among students who access the internet. Overall, the current scenario of Indian students using tech is negligible. Problem lies in being unaware of the changes happening around you. And as a result, you get comfortable with what you have and what you see. You don't strive for change necessarily. And our education system is no exception. It follows an age-old, outdated syllabus. Courses and skills that are relevant in the real world are still taught and practiced. One example, recently we came across an individual, a computer science graduate, who along with a friend started a company that makes websites for small-scale businesses. He told us how they made the websites from scratch. From gathering requirements, to creating wireframe, design mockups, to creating front-end and back-end, and eventually testing and hosting as well. And not to forget the after-sales maintenance. It's another chapter altogether. But the question here is, why the hassle when you have no-code, low-code tools at your disposal, which are convenient to use, easy to maintain, and don't burn a hole in your pocket? Why go all the way down? We then realized that they had no clue about low-code and no-code tools in existence. And if we were going to try and initiate any change, it was clear we had to start from scratch, which we think is from the secondary school level. So, education has always been a debatable subject to discuss. And this is because there's no generalized perception. Everyone has their own opinion and it's justified to some extent. Of course, there are a few exceptions, like if you ask the struggling class or the first generation schoolgoers, they will all sing the same song, which is to get a job and escape poverty. The importance of education has always been transient. For some, it's a privilege. For many, it's a job-seeking medium. And to few, it's a waste of time. However, this is how we see education. So it's a simple process where knowledge is passed from one individual to another. That's it. When we look over the timeline, education has evolved significantly over the centuries, shaped by cultural, economic, and technological changes. Today, the world is different than what it was 20 years ago. The generational shift is so quick. For instance, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we all witnessed how education was mediated by technology to facilitate young people's learning and development, how everyone started learning and working from home as well. That was the time when everyone understood the importance of technology and how being technologically relevant is a must these days. It was a time of distress and people were not thinking clearly. There was insecurity, frustration, and uncertainty among people. People were concerned about their child's future. They took a hold of every solution that was available online. So this was evident as the companies providing online learning platforms were earning huge. The numbers of students that enrolled were crazy. Lockdown was a time when digital businesses peaked. From content creators to edtechs, everybody was scaling. Companies saw this as an opportunity and started selling courses that taught coding. Their agenda was, if general subjects can be taught digitally, why not coding? And the age group that they were focused on were children between the ages of 9 and 15. And let's not forget their misleading advertisements. One advertisement literally shows company executives fighting each other to buy an app created by a kid.
ये क्या दुनिया भर के बिजनेस वाले क्यों चिंटू ने व्हाइट हैट जूनियर पे कोडिंग सीखा ऐप बनाया उसके ऐप पे इन्वेस्ट करने
We know it's not something impossible, but it's not common either. Few children that succeed are basically prodigies. Not every child can code and create softwares. The advertisement made every parent in the country insecure. And bang on, everyone enrolled paying thousands, but later it turned out to be a disaster. They didn't deliver the value they promised. Of course, it wasn't possible. Engineers with a 4-year degree are having a tough time coding. Do you really think it's that easy? If you thought coding was a cakewalk and everyone could do it, then why would no code exist? No code exists because coding is boring, tiresome, time-consuming, and not everyone's cup of tea. From school projects to big businesses, it can be used by everyone. So it's clear that we need to do education differently and prepare students to become competent and confident, engaging with digital technologies and potentially recognizing opportunities in the STEM careers. So for those of you who don't know what STEM is, it's basically an abbreviation for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And STEM education refers to studying these areas with a theoretical as well as a practical approach. In this age of transformation, there are growing demands for people to be digitally literate and have sufficient applied technical skills to play an active role in modern businesses and society as well. In response to such demands, citizen development is a growing movement across businesses to empower traditionally non-IT employees to build effective and innovative applications as well. This practice, where non-professional developers, typically business users or employees without formal coding experience, use no-code platforms to create applications, workflows, and business solutions, is called citizen development. And the person using the no-code, low-code platform is called the citizen developer. However, when it comes to school and secondary education, things get a little complicated as it's a different setting. Students often disconnect when something new is served to them. And to persuade students to learn low-code and no-code tools, a lot of patience and hand-holding is required from the teaching end. In order to understand whether low-code, no-code can be introduced in secondary education, a study was conducted in Ireland to understand teachers' perceptions around the potential of low-code, no-code in the education system. Workshops, surveys, and interviews were conducted with in-service teachers as a part of the study. During the interview, it was revealed that most teachers were open to improving their digital skills. However, there were a few who feared technology and were reluctant to embrace the change. So, in situations where someone is uncomfortable with technology, citizen development provides an excellent opportunity to introduce teachers and students to aspects of computer science without placing demands on them to develop technical skills. Therefore, this study was designed to explore how teachers perceive the potential value of citizen development and low-code, no-code in their teaching practices in post-primary schools. So this research provided an insight into teachers' attitudes and beliefs towards technology, their existing use or non-use of technology in their teaching roles, and their perceptions of the potential value and use of citizen development in the classroom. The findings indicated the high level of self-belief among teachers when it comes to solving problems using technology in their own classrooms. Teachers' confidence in their own abilities to incorporate low-code, no-code into their teaching increased after the training. When teachers feel confident in using technologies, it can lead to a reduction in fear towards technology and technological change. Low-code, no-code is not a solution to all the changes and challenges within our education system. But what it does is, it provides a solution to some of the pressures that teachers face and possibly some help to students if introduced properly. Technology, computer systems, and mobile application development enable educational progression, and we can clearly see that and witness it in the various private schools across India. Computer science has been a part of the curriculum since the early 2000s. So what we don't see here is that the curriculum has not been revised since the day it was introduced. With evolving technology, school curriculum should also evolve, or else there's no point of equipping students with skills that are no longer relevant in the real world. The individual that we mentioned at the beginning of this video is a pure case of being equipped with a skill that is no longer relevant to the real world. Of course, we don't mean to state that coding is not relevant. Coding is necessary. But with low-code, no-code tools in the market, one should understand when to code and when not to code. That's it for today, guys. Let us know your thoughts on low-code, no-code tools in the secondary education system, and make sure you subscribe to Builder Central for more such videos like this.